What's going on, guys? Welcome to another Doctor Who Classic review. Today I'm going to be reviewing the third Doctor Jon Pertwee story, The Three Doctors. Now this is the first episode of Season 10. The two other Jon Pertwee stories I've reviewed so far, Frontier in Space and Planet of the Daleks, are also in Season 10. Those are episodes 3 and 4. This is episode 1, and it's actually also the 10th anniversary special for Doctor Who. The first ever special. Which is pretty crazy, and it's also the first time we ever got to see multiple Doctors all together at once. The first Doctor, the second Doctor, and the third Doctor. So it's a very, very big milestone and the first proper celebration for the show. So let's have a look at the back of the DVD. This is The Three Doctors by Bob Baker and Dave Martin. The Time Lords are in crisis. A powerful force is draining their energy into a mysterious black hole, and they must recruit the Doctor to save them. But one Doctor isn't enough for this mission. All three of the Doctor's incarnations, aided by Jo Grant and UNIT, must face the wrath of Omega, a fallen Time Lord trapped for millennia in a universe of antimatter. Driven mad by his exile, Omega now has just one thing on his mind: revenge. So yes, this story is really all about Omega. I used to say Omega, but it's actually pronounced Omega, and I'm going to have to try and get used to saying it like that. I'm probably still going to say Omega or something, but it's actually Omega. So I'll try and pronounce it like that if I can. But yeah, really, really cool villain, and basically all three current incarnations of the Doctor at the time had to come together to fight Omega to find out what was going on. And yeah, the first ever proper anniversary for Doctor Who. And let me just say right now, it's a pretty damn good one. So we will start off with the cast. This time we have three Doctors to go through, starting off with Jon Pertwee as the third Doctor. Yeah, this is of course Jon Pertwee. Jon Pertwee was the newest incarnation of the Doctor at this time as the third Doctor. And he's great in this, of course. I love Jon Pertwee. The more I watch of his era, the more I love him, the more he becomes one of my favourite Doctors of the classic era. Probably of new era as well. I mean, I really do like Jon Pertwee. He's definitely up there. He's a fun Doctor. He's got that suaviness about him, and I just really like him. He's great in this. He has some great moments with Patrick Troughton. He has great chemistry with Nicholas Courtney is the Brigadier. Katie Manning is Jo Grant. Really good chemistry with all them, and altogether really do like his Doctor. We've then got William Hartnell as the first Doctor. William Hartnell doesn't have a massive performance in this. He was very, very sick at the time of this, and I mean, I think he only died a few years later. This was, 1972, and I can't remember when William Hartnell died, but it wasn't too many years after this, from what I remember. And yeah, William Hartnell was rather sick at this point. I mean, bearing in mind that he left the show because he was sick at the time, that was in 1966, so this is, we're talking 6 years later, and he's still pretty damn sick at this point, so he couldn't actually come on set and do proper filming. He actually recorded some other stuff in the BBC studios, and then they watched it back on the screen afterwards. They kind of used that and put it into the episode like that. So it was really nice to see William Hartnell, and I'm glad they did actually get him to do it. However, yeah, of course he doesn't play a massive part in this. I mean, he plays a big part in it, but he's not on screen for that long. But yeah, for what he is, considering how he was getting very old at this time, and he was very, very sick at the time also, he does a very good job too. Then of course we have Patrick Troughton as the second Doctor. I really do like the second Doctor. If you don't know, I have only started watching the second Doctor this year. I have actually seen the three Doctors before. It's one of the early episodes that I've seen, so this was probably one of my first appearances, my first kind of run-ins with the second Doctor, Patrick Troughton. But in this, he is great. Of course, now I'm watching this for the first time after watching some of his own era as well, and yeah, I really, really do love him. He's funny. He has great chemistry with. I don't actually think Jon Pertwee and Patrick Troughton had very good. I don't think they were that good behind the scenes, from what I've heard. But they weren't that happy with each other with the way they did things. But I mean, on screen, they work together very well. They have some funny, great moments. And yeah, Patrick Troughton, second Doctor, another Doctor who's becoming one of my favourites. I can't wait to watch more of his era, because I honestly think he's going to probably be up there in the top 5 or 6 Doctors of mine. We've then quickly got the rest of the cast. So Katie Manning as Jo Grant. I do quite like Jo. She's a bit of a screamy companion in some ways. However, she has that kind of, I don't know, there's just something about her that I like. She's just a really cool companion. I really do like her. She doesn't do too much in this, but for what she does, she's good, and yeah, just nice to see her in the story. We have Nicholas Courtney as the Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart. Really like the Brigadier. Very, very cool character. Yeah, I love it when, he ends up seeing Patrick Troughton's doctor, and he's like, he's seen that doctor before, and he's so confused about what's going on. This is actually the first time that he ever gets to go inside the TARDIS as well, which is pretty crazy, and he doesn't believe that it travels in time and stuff. It's crazy to think that, the doctor's been on Earth with the Brigadier and unit for so long, probably a couple of years by this point, but the Brigadier never really knew about all this stuff, and it's crazy to see that he, see him go through all this and, learn about the TARDIS and the time travel and stuff. Really cool. I really like the Brigadier. Also, John Levine, I don't know, as Sergeant Benton. Very good. I quite like Sergeant Benton as well. He's a good character. Stephen Thorne as Omega. Omega's really good. It's such a menacing villain, which we'll get into in a minute, but yeah, Stephen Byrne plays Omega very well. Definitely nothing to fault him about there. And to be honest, that's probably it. There's also some Time Lord characters that are in this story, but I'm not going to go into those very much. There's also a couple of side characters along with these other ones, but I'm not going to go into those either because I want to cut down on time a bit. Alright, so let's get into the good parts of this episode. First of all, it gets into the story quickly. Yes, Classic Who is known for being quite slow at getting into it. This story starts straight away, gets right into it. Now, we don't actually see Omega until... I told you I'd be saying it wrong. We don't actually see Omega until, I think, at the end of part 2, and we don't actually see his face and... him with the Doctor until a bit into part 3, but the story at least gets started with, the people going missing and all that sort of stuff. It gets started within the first 5 or 6 minutes, so really good. It's nice to see classic Doctor Who actually get going a bit quicker. The second and third Doctor meeting and the fact they don't seem to get along, yeah, once again, really good. This is the first time that we ever get to see two Doctors, play alongside each other, which is really good. It works really well. Patrick Troughton and Jon Pertwee do an awesome job of this, so yep, very good stuff there. The second Doctor's saying, care for a jelly baby. Yeah, well, like I said, I haven't really seen the second Doctor's era very much. I've literally seen 2 episodes as of this far, The Moon Base and The Enemy of the World. And then I've also seen him in this and the 5 Doctors and also the 2 Doctors. But, the whole jelly baby thing is known as the 4th Doctor's thing. It's a thing that the 4th Doctor does, Tom Baker. But the 2nd Doctor says it in this, and obviously this is before the 4th Doctor even existed. So, did the 2nd Doctor make this up? Was it a first appearance of the jelly babies in this episode? What's the story behind that? If you do know, please tell me if this was the first appearance, or if this was something that Patrick Troughton did a little bit in his era. Please tell me, because I'd love to know. Omega is great and very menacing. Yep, like I said before, very menacing character. The voice acting in that is done so well. I say voice acting, I'm pretty sure it's the same voice actor, the same person that does the movement and stuff, plays Omega. It also does the voice. Such a menacing, loud, bellowing voice. Very good. Such a good one-time... Well, actually, no, Omega did return, but I haven't seen Arc of Infinity. And from what I've heard of it, I don't know if I want to see it, but yeah, Omega, really good in that aspect. Some pretty good sets and nice changes of scenery. Yeah, so there's a lot of changes of scenery in this one. We start in the unit laboratory. We're in the TARDIS. We're on Earth at different places. Then we go to wherever Omega is and all the sand and the quarry in there. Really nice change of scenery. And there's like Omega's kind of lair or whatever he's in, cave, I don't know what it is. All the different changes of scenery, really good, and the sets as well, like where Omega is, really nice set. So yeah, I think a decent amount of money was spent on this one. So, but I suppose that's expected considering it's the 10th anniversary. The slow motion fight scene is very well shot and lit. Yeah, there was a slow motion fight scene between the Doctor and what I imagine was supposed to be like something in Omega's mind. He kind of links with Omega and they have this weird battle. The Doctor has a battle with this weird creature looking thing, and it's just such a, for the time, 1972, it looks so well, it's shot really well, you know, it's directed beautifully, and the lighting and everything just looks great, and I thought that was just a really good scene, definitely ahead of its time. And then finally, the conclusion with the recorder in the force field was interesting. Yep, the second Doctor was looking for his recorder throughout the whole episode, or throughout the whole story, all 4 episodes, and then finally we realized that the recorder is kind of stuck in the force field, and that's kind of keeping the force field alive. So when it gets kind of pushed out of, when the recorder leaves the force field, everything all goes wrong for Omega, and yeah, the day is saved. So I thought that was quite an interesting little end there. Finally, just a couple of bad things, but really not too much. The gel guards look a bit ridiculous. Yeah, the gel guards do look a bit crap. They look like bubble wrap, but just really bad. And I mean, the way they move, oh god, they waddle around like penguins. It actually looks ridiculous. It looks, the first time I saw them moving, I was like, wow. I actually kind of had a bit of a giggle inside. I thought that looks, they just look like waddling penguins. But yeah, not the best thing there. I think they were just kind of made up on the spot, but there we go. Also some bad CGI, but it's expected for the time. Like I said, the production values for this one, on the most part, were actually pretty damn good. The CGI wasn't great, but for the time, 1972, the CGI was probably amazing, so I can't really hold that against it too much either. So yeah, the 3 Doctors are the first ever anniversary special, the 10th anniversary special, and it's a bloody good one. I actually really enjoy it. I'm going to give the 3 Doctors a 9 out of 10. I thought maybe an 8 out of 10, then I pushed it to an 8.5, and then I thought, you know what, stuff it, I'm going to put it to a 9 out of 10. I really did enjoy this episode. It's only 4 parts long, so it's my perfect length. I think 4-parters are the best, you know, they're not too long, but they're not too short. I think anything, when it gets to 6 parts, 6-part stories can sometimes work, but they can sometimes drag. This episode doesn't really drag at all, I don't feel. I can watch through it all perfectly fine, and yeah, have a hell of a lot of fun with it. So yeah, a 9 out of 10 for the 3 Doctors. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.